I am Vyo Maitre. I graduated from open source specialization in UPS, and I'm now working as a Java developer as well as a DevOps person. So, I worked on Java for the first 6 or 7 months of my job, and now I'm working in the DevOps team. And yeah, what else do you need to know?
Okay. So what it has been like to work as a Java developer for you?
It's actually been really enlightening. It's actual development in Java is so different from what we did in college because it's not just about solving the problem. It's also about how you solve the problem, the particular design that you implement. By design, I don't mean the creativity design, the artwork design. I mean the design of the software, as in how do I model my classes, how do I model my data structures. That is what I mean by design over here.
Yeah.
So that's an avenue which was never even touched upon in college, and now that I'm working as a developer, I understand that it's such a vast and such an important aspect of coding. There are multiple things that you have to keep in mind, things such as the solid principles, because solid principles are nothing but there's very fundamental principles that help you write good code. When I say good code, I don't mean very cleverly written code. I mean code which is very easy to understand, so that if you come back to it, I don't know, a few months later, maybe a few years later, you're still able to understand what you've written in the code. You are
Yeah.
able to understand, other developers are able to understand. That is good code.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
so those things come into
readability is
play.
something that isn't touched upon in college any like just any
I
like yeah.
definitely. Yeah, actually, it's okay because college is meant to, give you a start. It's meant to introduce what Java is to you,
Yeah.
and I guess that is okay. It's of course it's a big plus if you are writing readable code from college itself. That's a big
Yeah.
bonus on your part. But yeah.
Is Java a good option for someone to be taken who is going to start learning a new programming language or just going into programming language?
Okay, that's actually a wonderful question. Thanks for that. So, if you're starting with, okay, I started with Java, so I'm going to be biased and I'm going to say that yeah, it's good. However, if you just want to, learn a programming language just to solve a small problem, and you know that it's not going to be a proper software system, you're not developing a system, you're just writing code for simple automation, then I would say Python might be more, might be better for your use case. However, if you're writing an actual system which you are hoping will be used for years to come, then Java is definitely the best option there is. Uh, the best thing about Java is that there is a really helpful community on the internet which you can go to for any problems that you come across. They have frameworks, libraries for everything. So, as a beginner, again, it depends what's your use case. Are you a beginner to just simple programming and automation, that's what you want to do in the end, then no, Java is not what you should be going for. But if you're actually entering the world of coding or software development, and if that's what you want to do, software development is what you want to do, then Java is, in my opinion, is the best language that there is, simply because of the wonderful support that there is on the
Okay.
internet.
Okay. So many people would have asked, and I also want to know: is Java worth it in 2020?
That's the most cliched question, isn't it? Yeah. So okay, let's see what this question rises from. It rises from the fact that JavaScript and Python are the languages which are up and coming,
Yeah.
or Go is a new language, Kotlin is there. So that's what begs the question: that is Java still relevant? And the answer is simple. Java is the language that brought a revolution to software development. Of course, there's C++. C++ to date is the best language if you want to write some software which needs to be fast. Java is not as fast given to C++. So ever since C++, Java is the thing which has occurred, and ever since Java has come into the picture, there it has revolutionized software, obviously, which led to so many softwares being developed in Java, which are still active. Google uses Java extensively, and that's a fact. As for the newer languages, Python, JavaScript, they have a different use case altogether. Functional programming, which is a part of JavaScript. I'm sure if you've heard of JavaScript, you know
Yeah.
functional
Yeah.
programming. So Python, all these things are very helpful, but they have very different use cases. Artificial intelligence, that's a new field. DevOps. I can't imagine using Java to implement DevOps. I can't imagine Java for artificial intelligence. Of course, there would be people who have done it, but that's not ideal. Even they know the fact. So it depends on your use case. If you want to go for these new technologies, then no, definitely Java is not your language. But if you want to make a software, and be it a web application, an actual industry level software, then there's I don't again I might not be the right person to answer this, but in my experience I have not come across a language better than Java to develop industry ready software, simply because of the large number of frameworks that I've been mentioning all around, the libraries. Maven is there to help you build Java applications, whatnot. There's the Spring Boot to implement the microservices architecture. Okay, again, okay. I have another point to add. I just totally forgot this. So in today's world, software development is no longer monolithic. It's entirely service oriented. You might be familiar with the phase service oriented architecture. You might have heard of microservices being used. So there are frameworks such as Spring Boot, which help you implement that microservices architecture. Then you can implement MVC very easily in Spring. All those things, they are just so easy at this point in Java that it makes sense to use Java as the language of your choice when you're coming up with a software system. So yeah, it depends on your use case, definitely. But yeah, Java is definitely relevant today, and I think it will be for a long time.
Okay.
Let's see how it goes.
Since it's this important, how do you really start going into Java?
Yeah.
How to start developing in this?
Okay. So to start developing, the first thing you need to look at are the solid principles. The 5 solid principles, solid being an acronym, S is single responsibility, O is open close principle, and so on. I could actually talk about it for a long time, the solid principles, but yeah, that's what you first need to look at. What solid principles help you understand is how to write code. Okay, I'm assuming over here that you know Java already, that you've done some courses on Java, and you know what the syntax of Java is basically. So once you know that, design principles are the next step. So design principles help you understand what you should be doing, what you should not be doing, what would lead to your design breaking in the future, what would lead to a good design. And once you're through with these solid principles, then you come to the very important topic. It's called design patterns. So design patterns are stuff like strategy pattern, factory pattern, singleton pattern. I guess that's the most one people most familiar with. So okay, first is understanding the syntax of Java. Second is again the solid principles, and third are design patterns. So once you understand these 3, after that you can start looking at more advanced concepts such as dependency injection and the Spring framework that I mentioned. These are more advanced concepts, but in order to start, this is the path that you should ideally be following to become a good Java.
What are the challenges, some of the challenges that you face while starting out as a Java developer, that you faced or a general person faces?
I guess the biggest challenge for me was to understand when to implement design patterns and when not to. For example, there's a design patterns or even solid principles. I'll take the example of solid principles. It's easy to understand. So there's the first principle, solid, S stands for single responsibility principle. So that says that each and every class that you define should have just one responsibility, and if there are multiple responsibilities, it should be split into 2 classes. So let's say I have an input and an output. I would ideally want a separate class to handle all inputs, a separate class for all outputs. Maybe I would segregate even that single class into multiple classes for multiple types of input. It could be either way. Processing, I could say that let's say I am let's say a simple library management system, right? So there's a single class which is handling just the check-in, another a single class to just trigger the check-in, another class is processing the check-in, another class is responsible for updating it in the database. So that is a principle that needs to be followed, single responsibility. However, it's very easy to get lost and actually divide there's this thing called class explosion, in which case you are segregating into so many classes that it becomes impossible to manage. So I talked about how one class would be responsible for, let's say, uploading information to the database. So I could divide that into further classes too, like one class just for loading the driver and supplying it, another class just for compiling those entries. Another class just interacting with the database, checking that I have the necessary locks with me. So that is called class explosion, because I don't need those many classes for a simple task. That is called class explosion. So yeah, this is the challenge, that which principle, when to apply it and when not to apply it. That is the biggest challenge I would say I faced.
What do you think how Java is evolved as a language, and how is it going to be in the future?
Java is something which is continuously evolving. Back till Java 7, I remember in Java 7 there is no functional coding. Functional is a functional paradigm of coding is the new thing. If there's anyone in the audience who doesn't know about it, I definitely recommend giving it a look. Java is evolving. It's trying to inculcate the functional features into it. It's trying to become more readable. It's a known fact that Python is much more readable than Java. Python is much more high level, so obviously it's slow, but it's readable. So Java is going in that direction. I think I read somewhere that in Java 14 they are changing things like massively with the switch statement. There is now the ability to yield a result from a switch statement. So Java is evolving continuously. However, if you are actually developing an application, you might want to look at just one specific version or two specific versions of Java. That you might want to decide, okay, I need these features and these are a part of Java 8 but not a part of Java 7, so I'll go for Java 8. Then when you're migrating to Java 11 from 8, you really need to assess what all extra is there, such as in Java 8 you can even define default methods inside interfaces. So you need to know the differences and look at it. Ideally, you would not be updating your Java version very soon, and Java language has again come a long way, but Java 8, Java 11, these are two versions which are spread across the industry, whereas Java 14 is also in the market. So that's because when a language is evolving, it reaches a point where it has the necessary features, and after that the features that are coming are really not necessary. They are there, sure, but you can do without them. So about the evolution, I would say Java has reached the point where it has everything you would possibly need, and that is in Java 8 and Java 11. And let's see how it evolves in future. But I don't really, right now, I don't see a need for Java to evolve massively. Of course, it needs to adapt to, to the situation, and it needs to adapt and to stay in the game. But it doesn't need to do anything massive. For example, I don't think Java should be making changes to enter the artificial intelligence space, because Python is there. I'm good with Python for artificial intelligence. I have Groovy for my Jenkins and all those DevOps things. So Java should understand its domain and expand on how to best allow us developers to build in that domain. And I think that's what Java has been doing, and that's a great thing. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's it. Those are all the questions that I had for you. And thanks a lot for coming to the show, and have a wonderful day.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, man. Thank you for having me. I've seen some of the past episodes. It's a great honor to be, among that crowd. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Asit.